Hello, agents. I am Matthew Wood,
No, I'm Nick Fentiman.
and welcome to Shaken Not
Shaken, not
Stirred.
stirred.
You'll be forgiven a judgment. No, 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 not the first time I've fallen for a spy. Do you expect me to talk or do you expect me to die? It's like you're looking in the mirror and changing direction. Do you feel the connection between you and I?
Hello, good evening, everybody, and
Good evening.
welcome to the first Shaken Not Stirred James Bond show. How are you doing, Nick?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Matt. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. We're ready and raring to go. So, just a quick one to all of our viewers. Welcome to the show. This is the first time we've done something like this, but it will be lots and lots of fun, and hopefully, you guys will enjoy it as well. Saturday evening, let's bring it on. Where is everybody from today, guys? Where are we all watching from? What locations? Are we in the UK or are we in a
Further abroad?
Zond location? Yeah, could be anybody. Could be anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. Where are you guys from today?
Yeah, Neil's on Earth.
Yeah, I'll
Welcome,
see a
Neil.
few familiar faces. Earth. That's always a good place to be, Neil. It's always a good place to be. We got one from Miami, Florida. Wow, that's a nice place to be as well. That.
Oh, hi, Ali from Lytham St Anne's, my
Oh,
hometown.
how you doing, Ali?
Welcome.
Yep. It's a small world. So many people from the
Yeah,
Bond community are
I
actually
know.
from crazy, crazy times. Okay, so introductions and what to expect. So obviously, me and Nick have run Shaken Not Stirred. For those of you that don't know, since March 2019, we've done lots of different things on the group, different content, group missions, which sort of members get involved with, and we just generally have a lot of fun. And we've held quite a few events, haven't we, Nick?
Yeah, we've had about two live events in our first year. We've had plenty of online missions in the Facebook group, and also our big one last year, which we'll be getting onto later on in the show.
Yeah, exactly. So introduction to what to expect. So basically, we're just going to have a bit of fun tonight. We've asked somebody from the Bond community to come on. We're going to have a guest every single month, and we're just going to have a bit of fun and chat everything Bond and get opinions and ask you guys as well what you think. And we'll just have a great big chat and a fun evening, really. That's what it's all about. And reminiscing about last year and what we're sort of hoping for this year as well to happen. So what I think it's time we actually should introduce our guest today. What do you think?
Yeah, let's get the best. Let's get our guest on. Yeah, sure.
Right, guest introduction. So this person really does need no introduction. He is Dutch Bond fan, the classy YouTube sensation who brings us his great views on all things James Bond. Okay, so we're going to bring him in right about now. Hello, Jerome. How you doing?
Good evening,
Hey
Joanne.
guys, how you guys doing? Thanks for having me, first of all.
You're very
No,
welcome.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, good.
I mean, it wasn't long ago since we've been all together, really, isn't it? It's only a few months.
Yeah, last October. I'm still reminiscing about that weekend. One of the best weekends of 2022 for sure for me. Absolutely. And thanks for calling me the classy YouTube sensation. That's great.
Well, I just think I think we'd all agree with that one. There is a lot of class, a lot of style there. So yeah, nice. Obviously, your videos are you're ramping up really a lot of content lately, and you've obviously can take it to the next level now because it seems to be working out really well for you.
Absolutely, yeah. It's this was just a little hobby thing I started doing well, it turned into a Bond channel in 2015, but gradually it became bigger. But it was really last year where it became actually lucrative and something to the next level, like you said. So yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to start with an interrogation first of all, in true Bond style. So what's going to happen is me and Nick are going to ask you as many questions as we can in 1 minute. And we're going to have a timer on the screen and we're going to see how many we can get through. And every guest
All
that come
right.
on this show will have this interrogation. So I don't know how it's going to work out because it's going to be quite challenging. So Nick's going to ask a question first, and I'll try and get one in, and then we'll go vice versa, and then we'll see what we can do. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. The pressure is on me being the first guest. All the other guests after this, they can practice these questions.
Well,
we'll be
we're
easy
gonna have
on
your
you.
different.
We'll be easy
Yeah,
on
we're
you.
gonna have different ones.
No worries.
Yeah, it's okay. It's gonna be fun. Right, let's do a practice first of all. So this will happen as soon as this goes on. So I'll give Nick a countdown. So we'll go 3, 2, 1, and then boom, the clock will start. Oh, hang on a minute, it's gone. Look at this.
I'll get more than 2 seconds though.
Yeah.
It's just a test, as we say.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
a test.
of
So
course.
let's try again. Oh, look at this. Right, so that's what happens when it comes to the end. We just thought we'd show you, and then it starts, and then we'll go. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah. No.
Right.
Perfectly.
Okay. Nick, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready.
Are you ready, John?
Paper.
I'm ready. Yeah. I'm very curious what you
Make
guys will
note.
throw at me.
Well, these are going to be fun. I'm just going to make note how many questions we do. Okay, Nick, in 3, 2, 1. Go.
What is your favourite location you've visited?
It's probably Black Park with you guys.
Oh, nice. Good answer. Good answer. Memorable tour
Just
from
one.
last year.
Jerome, best one-liner.
Oh man. Providing the colors and cups match. I like that one.
Go on, Nick.
What was your first film at the cinema?
Quantum of Solace.
Oh wow,
What's-
that's always gets
Yeah.
a lot of contention, that one.
Not the best one
Yeah,
to start
favourite
with.
film. What's your favourite film?
License to Kill.
Oh, nice. Go on, Nick. Get 2 more in.
What's your most prized possession as a collectible item you have?
Ooh, probably the Lego DB5. Out of the
Okay, cool. Mm.
Brilliant. Oh, last
big
one.
one.
Greatest sound effect.
Yeah, I don't. That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to think
That is a
about that
tough
one. The
one.
greatest sound effect. What would you
Oh.
say on that one?
Me. You know what? I think it's the Odd Jobs hat. I do. I really like that. The whooshing sound.
Oh, yes. Mm.
Yeah.
Especially after speaking to Norman at our event and how much effort he took to do that. So I think we've got about. I'm going to count that as a question, even though you didn't answer. To be fair, we'll keep it as 5. We'll keep it as 5 because
Well,
there was an
yeah.
answer. To be fair, that was a tough one. I should have gone with something generic, like I don't know, best suit or best villain.
Mm.
Yeah, I know, but
Just
fair
best of
enough.
everything.
Great questions though.
Oh, thank you very much. So well done. To be fair, that was a good selection, I think. There, license. to
Yeah,
Kill,
we
that's
covered a
good one.
few bases there.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. We've
Yeah,
got a
License
rough
to Kill.
idea.
Yeah, that's you don't hear that too often. Sometimes it's on the bottom of
Mm.
people's list, I guess. I would never have the audacity to call License to Kill the best Bond film, but objectively, I think it has the best villain. Also, not the most iconic, but Robert Davi is just so, and I find the plot so original, so different to, well, all the other Bond films. And Timothy Dalton is a great Bond, but Connery is my favorite. But I just really enjoy License to Kill. I know
Well, Matt and I,
Matthew.
yeah. Mm. No,
Well, I
I was
know
going to say,
Matthew-
Matt and I saw the License to Kill last year at the Prince Edward Cinema.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I want to see it.
Sorry,
on the
Prince
big screen
Charles
myself.
Cinema in St Leicester Square. Yeah, and we had a Q&A with Paul Weston, one of the stunt guys, afterwards.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
no, that was really good.
Saw some
Yeah,
questions
that was
pop
that.
in.
Yeah, that was really a really good way of seeing the film as well. I've never seen it in 4K before, so it was good to see it in 4K. But I think it's a great film. It's something different, and it's very dark, and it kind of works. I think it works for Dalton, and I think I prefer that than The Living Daylights because that just feels a bit more
Yes. Mm.
Yeah.
suited to Dalton's Bond, doesn't it? It just feels good. And there's
Yeah, I
like
think
John's just said a great line here. You earned it, you keep it, old buddy. That's a
uh,
great line, that one.
Mm.
good to see John. You guys met him as well. He was at your event. That's John from America.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. Oh, hi,
yeah,
John. How you doing?
we had dinner with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, no, License to Kill. You're right, and I think where it has the edge on The Living Daylights is definitely with the villains, because The Living Daylights is a great film as well. I like to believe, but yeah, it's no, great film.
Yeah, there's definitely something about it. There's Graham says great answers there. And yeah, I was there. Alan Church did the intro.
Oh, From Tailors with
Yeah,
Love, nice.
yeah, good to see you guys. Yeah, I know. I turned up late to that screening actually, so I didn't get to see. But yeah, it was one of those things. So what we do, we have a 2022 recap because a lot went on. 60th anniversary of Bond. And to be fair, I don't think there was enough time to breathe for us Bond fans because we got pretty much everything and more that we could ask for, really, in terms of content and delivery. I mean, in the UK, we had every single Bond film on the big screen in 4K.
Yeah,
There were events left, right, and centre. The Sound of Bond concert,
The
and I had a fantastic.
Burlington Arcade,
Oh yeah,
the
Burlington
setup.
Arcade, and I've got to show you some of these pictures, reminiscing a bit.
Mr.
BFI,
Saritsky
James Bond.
himself. Yeah,
Yeah, I met the man himself. Now, there's an interesting story about this because this was a Sunday afternoon, and we never go out on the Sunday afternoon, never. But the German Bond fan club was doing a meetup in one of the pubs. So I said, I'll have to check the cars at the BFI. And I'm going to the cars, taking pictures. All of a sudden, I hear this identifiable American accent. I look up and it's David. And it was just coincidence that we were both there at the same time. It's unbelievable,
amazing.
isn't it? You
Yeah,
know, and I didn't.
I'm still yet to meet him. I'm hoping to be able to
Mm.
say the same soon. Great guy.
Yeah, oh no, definitely.
Spoke to him a few times, obviously digitally like this, but real life, it's coming. It's coming.
It is, yeah. And there's Gemma right in the middle. But he was wearing his
Yeah.
Goldfinger outfit. I felt very underdressed. He's had a lot of style there. And then
Yeah,
obviously he was with the one with where's he gone? He was with David Williams. So we got to meet him too and have a chat with him. That was interesting. Quite
great.
good. So
He's tall.
he is tall. So we're gonna reminisce and recap. And we'll get rid of that for a second because a big part of 2022 for us, for me and Nick, was our big You've Had Your 60 event. And we had the pleasure of actually having you as our guest, for that whole weekend.
Yeah. No, like I said at the beginning of this stream, absolutely one of
Mhm.
the weekends of the entire year for me. And I it's fun because you saw John in the chat. He's one of my Patreon supporters. Same with
Sure.
Philip, who
Mhm.
you guys also met from Germany. And to me, it's nuts that these two, for example, they came because I went there. I told
Yeah.
my supporters, like, you guys should come too. And he came from the US. The other one came from Germany. And then it really, we're still talking about it. I'm still in a group chat with those two. And it really blew our mind what you two put together, especially the screening of Dr. No at Pinewood Studios. I mean, who's able to say that they pulled that off? That's a real
Mm.
big hats off. And Norman Wanstall as well. Meeting him, that was something extraordinary.
Yeah.
Such a gentleman as well, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because Norman, he actually confused me for Chris Wright from James Bond Radio twice. So he kept coming up to me like, "You've been to my house. We've met." And I'm like, "No, this is the first time I'm seeing you." "No, you're from James Bond Radio. I know, you went to my house." And I had to pull my phone and show pictures of Tom and Chris and be like, "No, these are the hosts. I'm someone else." And then he's like, "Oh, right." But fun guy, and he was great in craps, wasn't he? Craps
Mm.
table.
He
Total
was
legend
amazing.
there.
I
Mm.
mean,
Yeah.
just sitting next to him in that screening was really interesting because, like, he hadn't seen the film for quite a while as well, I think. and I saw his name pop up, and I was like, this guy's sitting right next to me here. This is just unusual. And his reactions to the actual film, instead of watching the film, I was kind of watching what he really enjoys and the bits that he was laughing at, and it's fantastic. And I mean, he must be very proud. There he is, the man
There he
himself.
is. Yeah.
We're just enjoying a glass of bubbly or two. I think we stayed up quite a bit that night. And
great night.
It was a really good way to kick off the weekend. I think a nice way to start.
I think that was, especially the Saturday, was when it really started to hit me how surreal it is, kind of, because normally, you would guests like that, maybe you will see them for an hour and you get to pop in one or two questions. You're lucky, but we got to spend the whole weekend with a lot of them, especially Norman. He hung around for the whole Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And when we did the craps tables, and I bought some drinks for Norman, and he was so thankful that I got him a beer. It was nothing, but still. And to me, it's so surrealistic. Like, he got an Oscar, obviously, in the '60s, and he's been working on these Bond films way before we were born. And to be able to just have a chat and a laugh with him, and he would be laughing at our jokes as well. It's still very surrealistic. What a weekend!
And he was very open and honest with all his answers and everything, and not someone that shies away from saying how it was at the time.
Yeah. No, great stuff. And again, hats off to you guys for pulling all of that together.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of it was a challenge because we realized we kind of wanted to fit so much in, and it was jam packed. We didn't have to. I mean, we had Steve here doing the chat about his time on Skyfall, no time, and that was short. We had to cut that short because there's no way that we had time to fit it all on. Then we had
Philip Latchford. I especially enjoyed his karaoke of the Moonraker song at the end of that presentation.
I mean,
he's been asking if there's anybody out. In fact, this is a good point to ask. If anybody out there has a full version of his singing, he'd like to have it.
I filmed the ending part of it, but not the beginning.
Okay.
But I have a portion of it, and it, yeah. A bit is used in that vlog I put together on your guys' events. Yeah,
it was. And the coolest thing is we had John Grover, who edited Moonraker. He was there, and he was like, "Oh, I've got to hear this talk if it's about Moonraker." And the thing that struck me is me and Nick had probably never met most of the guests we'd invited before. Never met them. We didn't know what they were going to be like, and we've told them to come to this event with all these people, and we're like, how are people going to act? But you know what? It was one big family. And what I liked about it was, for me, that you could wake up the next morning and have breakfast with a Bond henchman or a Bond villain or,
exactly. Yeah.
These things just don't happen, do they? And I think we were kind of relieved that we actually pulled it off, because it was a lot of work, and we did, we are non-profit, and this event cost thousands to put on. We did it at a price that really was cheap, considering it should have been hundreds of pounds. But we did it. I mean, to watch a Doctor No at Pinewood with someone from the film, and then have 3 Bond girls and villains and henchmen and sound and all of these people. We had 11, 13 guests, I think, in the end.
And also a surprise guest on the phone just after dinner.
Yeah. One of the 3 blind mice, right? Wasn't it?
He was the message. There was a letter or email, Matt, that you read out, but you also had the lady from Doctor No.
Yeah, that's right.
Charles Edgehill. He gave us a nice message, and then Margaret Lawars phoned us up.
That was the phone,
completely out the blue, and it was like, she went, "Oh, I'm really sorry," because she was going to do a video for our event, and then I was going to put it out there. "I'm really sorry, I didn't have time. But thanks anyway." I was like, "Well, hang on a minute, we could do this another way." So literally, I had her on the phone live from the Caribbean. Literally,
you went like in front of the mic.
Yeah.
I remember.
I don't have no footage of that, but I thought, how cool was that? That's just unbelievable, isn't it?
And what I also enjoyed, because in this particular panel, these are obviously all of the editors together and the sound editors. And the cool thing about this is you would get kind of talks that you would never get on an official documentary. Like for example, they would say how awful they found the editing of Quantum of Solace, obviously being from the old generation,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Oh, Quantum of Solace should have never been made." They were,
Yes.
it's very honest, and also that's what I really appreciate, that kind of stuff, because to
Mm.
be fair, you can be. I criticize the editing in Quantum of Solace as well, and you'd never get that type of stuff from people working on the Bond films on anything
No,
official,
you
right?
don't.
You can only
Yeah.
get it in real life. So that was something really interesting. And I sat at the dinner table with these guys next to John Grover and Vernon, and such gentlemen, even at their age. Really, really great talks that night. Oh, there's Lyrit. She's
Yeah, no,
sending that from the other room.
brilliant. No, it was great, and yeah, I don't think we could have hoped for it to go any better. If there's anything that we could change, I don't think there would, apart from the
Listen,
hotel staff, perhaps. But other than that, we won't
Yeah.
mention that kind of thing. But yeah, we had a few logistical issues that I think the venue could have helped us out with. But I mean, the guests we had were amazing. They all were very generous with their time, and even some of them
and they
stayed for
all,
the casino, which was great.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and they all joined in with everything as well. There's no one sitting in a corner and going
Yeah.
and messaging people on their mobiles. I mean, Sid Child was amazing as well. She was so fantastic to speak to.
Yeah.
And the stories that you would, we only had limited time for the question and answer sessions, but afterwards, there's just other nuggets of information that you would not get, as you say, from anywhere else, probably, unless they write it all down in the book.
Well, yeah, that's that. I mean, it was great because when you had them by yourself, they were kind of more open as well. Obviously, they may have held back in some of the Q&As with some of the stories and things, but overall, when you're sitting down at the table and you're relaxed, and it's just, we're sitting with someone here who's contributed to something that we really will enjoy. It's very surreal. And to have not just one, but 11 or 12 different people from that world, from different roles and different eras. And it was just, I think we had, the trick was to get one person from every decade. And I think we did it.
Yes.
We actually did it.
And
that was
and
the trick.
I feel like you guys deserve not just a compliment for putting this together, because I've been stating it countless times, but also you were great hosts as well, and I thought
thank you.
very humorous as well. I remember on the Bond Girl panel, Maggie was talking about when they filmed the magnet scene with her frog being opened, and she was like, there were 5 cameramen underneath my frog, and then Matthew just out of his sleeve like, well, that's got to be a world record. That was really smooth, the way you did that stuff, and the whole crowd was laughing at your one-liners there. That was great stuff.
Yeah, you know what? We've got a clip of that. Should we play that now?
Yeah.
Should we play
go
that?
ahead.
Yeah, go
I had no
ahead.
idea.
Let's see this.
Let's play this clip, because this is right. So this is Madeline Smith's, and there's some stories here. We've got 3 or 4 exclusive clips from our event that we're going to play. We haven't played before. These were filmed. So yeah, here we go. Madeline Smith.
Wardrobe scene, it's a bit difficult because you had technicians everywhere trying to coordinate this fishing hook and all the rest of it.
Roger has written a diary, which I think has been published again, hasn't it, Matthew?
It has, yeah.
A day-by-day diary of the making of Live and Let Die. But some of it he's got a bit wrong. I think some of it he wrote retrospectively, because there were more people under my frock than he said, for a start. I've met the young man called Ian, who is not so young anymore, but then neither am I. And he was under there, and the special effects guy and the wardrobe lady, Julie Harris, they're all under me frock.
Well, that must be a world record.
Well, yes. I shall gather myself again. No, but it's because the stupid thing wouldn't come down.
It's a very tricky
The
situation.
zip would not come down, despite the fact that it got chicken wire or whatever it was. It wouldn't work. The dress was incredibly thick, horrible thing. I hated that frock. And it kept ruckling, and I don't know. Roger says how many takes it was. It was loads. Mm.
Yeah. Must be just to get it right, because obviously it's very
Well,
precise,
it had
isn't
to
it,
be
the
sort
movement?
of, you
Yeah.
know.
And you had Roger's wife in the corner there.
Roger's
Oh,
wife
yeah.
was at the foot of the bed while we were in bed. She was there. We were there. And Caroline had her as well. She wouldn't let him out of her sight, would she?
She was very feisty.
She was. I didn't know you had it as well. God.
She was very sweet.
Oh yes, sweet, but yes.
Intimidating, yeah.
Well, quite. Mine was a little intimate.
Yours was intimate.
But it wasn't really, because he had, I think they were pale blue boxer shorts and I had this sort of nappy thing on, and marvellous.
Yeah, that was Madeline Smith, and
Yeah.
just thinking back, great memories of that.
Yeah, and I remember shortly after that, she started talking about obviously her scene in Live and Let Die with Roger in, you know, the pre-title sequence or after the title sequence. And she mentioned how cold it was filming there in the studio, and she's like, "It's so cold in there. It's so cold. It's so cold, isn't there, Isn't it, Matthew?" And Matthew's like, "Yeah, it's pretty cold." How were you supposed to know? I mean, you weren't born. You were never in that studio. Oh, yeah, it is pretty cold. I remember that bit. It's
Yeah, I
cracking
mean,
up. What else
I've
were you
just remembered
supposed
that.
to say? Yeah.
I was like, some of them, it was like, yeah, that was right, and I was like, hang on a minute, I wasn't even born. What am I saying? But yeah, it was moments like that. And I've never been on the set at Pinewood. I've got no acting skills whatsoever. So it's quite surreal, really. I mean, I think that's kind of, in a way, a good thing, because they felt like we were kind of maybe experienced or something at this kind of thing, because obviously they've just treating us like people, professional people that have been on sets and things. So I thought that was, it was pretty good. But she was great, and the stories and everything else. The only disappointing thing was she couldn't make that picture, another big picture with everybody in. The picture we
Yeah,
had.
she was busy. She was busy making a call.
Yeah, she was busy making a call.
Yeah, she's not in the
I
picture.
remember
No,
that.
now that you mention it. Yeah. Oh well.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? But let's get that up again and share it. Let's add it in. Yeah, I don't think she's there.
Yeah, no, you're right. She was having a call.
Yeah, she was making a call, like Nick said. Yeah, it's a shame, really, but what a great picture. And it's just a great.
He was a lot of fun as well. Sean Cronin. Yeah.
Oh, Sean Cronin. Oh, he
Oh,
was.
Sean's a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He and Terrence Mountain, they kept hitting on Lyrid, Sean Cronin and Terrence Mountain. But that was, all in good spirit, of course. You know, I would never dog down on them, but which I found very amusing. That's why I'm mentioning it. It's really great stuff. Yeah, what a night this was. Here we are.
Yeah,
Philip and John in the background.
Norman, the craps man. He was there all night. He was great, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Did he stay on the craps table all night then? He didn't move on to any other table.
And
really?
It's ridiculous. I should have put more chips on it, because I obviously filmed that one bit where we all were betting on him throwing a 7, and it was not like I did multiple takes and until he eventually threw a 7. I just did one take, and I'm like, is he gonna throw a 7? And then he did. It's because we had the feeling he would, and he did. It's crazy. He was so lucky.
I remember when you filmed that, and that was just a crazy moment, because no one had rolled a 7, and I remember Smokey Joe was the name of the croupier, and he said that 7 is the most popular number. He gets rolled a lot. I think it's the number that comes up a lot. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but so he was like, it hasn't been rolled yet, and then you just started filming. It just come out of nowhere. That was an amazing moment. That
it's me with Philip. You got here, and John. The two Patreon supporters, obviously. And they're definitely, if you do another event in the future in October or something else, I've been, especially with Philip, I've been talking a lot. We became very close friends. Obviously, I've known them digitally, but now that I've met them in real life, Philip and I are actually planning to meet again pretty soon in Brussels to do the Bond in Motion exhibition thing. Yeah, so I'm going to see him more often. It's great how friendships were developed thanks to you guys' event as well.
Yeah, we've had we've had quite a few stories about people that have formed friendships through that event. Yeah, and no, it's
It's what it's all
fantastic.
about.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Bonding.
I mean, yeah, it just comes down to that thing, and it's the one great thing about Bond. You know, we can all get together, and I think the reason why me and Nick created Shaken Not Stirred is a nice, warm, friendly place. Because
Yeah.
unfortunately, there are a few, places where you can't talk Bond or forums online and this, that, and the other. Because if you say this is the best Bond or this is the best film, you get ripped to pieces, and it shouldn't
Yeah.
be like that, really. We should all be able to share our likes and dislikes without judgment and just enjoy it. Enjoy what what
And
we're
exactly,
all here
and,
for.
and also just comment on posts, share posts without having any issues with people saying, "Oh, I've seen that photo before," because everyone's
Yeah.
new. The
Yeah.
people being brought into Bond every day of the week, and
Yeah.
so we need to make it a friendly environment where they can just all come and share their knowledge, share things that other people may not have seen, or just nuggets of information from being on set, or my next door neighbor was on set with so and so, or even one of our family friends has built part of one of the cars on Spectre, so which I found out recently. So it's just things like this which just make it fantastic to come and just talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
And there's a great
completely.
shot of us
Yeah,
at the
one of my
casino there.
favorite pictures because here, this is actually a screenshot from a video that's part of the vlog as well. I think Lyrit filmed this one, but
Mhm.
the thing I like here is we weren't really aware we were being filmed, and you can see we were totally in our element.
Mm.
And I think especially because obviously you guys must have been under pressure as well a lot beforehand, and I think this is one of the moments where you can see the pressure turn to enjoyment the most for in
Yeah.
math in particular. I've spent a lot of time here obviously next to him, and
Mhm.
the weight was off the shoulders, and now it was just drinking beers, having a little bit of alcohol flow into your veins, and just lighten up and have fun with all these different Bond people. Yeah, extraordinary.
Because
But yeah,
our first and foremost core thing is that we got to make sure the guests are okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
Here we won the quiz night
because
as
we just
well.
don't want them. Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah, I need to get this picture. I forgot about this one, but
I'll send this one to you. Yeah, I'll send it to
yeah,
you. I got
this
a few pictures together, so yeah.
this was great as
I know.
well. There were a few people missing. Obviously, I think some of them had to go because there
Yeah,
was I forgot his name. You
Ali,
would know the one
Ali,
with the
Ali, 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 and his dad. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
the cool
Mhm.
thing about him was he was part of the reason we won this. I think because he got the taxi number question right
yeah,
somehow, which still
Ah.
blows my mind. Yeah, that was one
yeah.
of the
It was.
hardest questions on your
Yeah.
guys'
What's the
quiz.
what's the taxi number on? It was in Doctor No. I think it was 26, wasn't it? Something like that.
And even if
Um.
we saw
Mm.
Doctor No the day before this quiz,
Yeah.
obviously, and I remember sitting, he went like, "What was the number again?" Like, yeah, he knew the number, and he went, "This is it," and I'm like, "Are you sure? Trust me on this. Trust me." He just knew. It's crazy. Great guy.
Oh no, it was a great moment, and actually, like you said before, when I think Nick will probably agree here. When the kind of the Q&As were over with Eton, everyone was getting changed, getting ready for the evening. I think both me and Nick kind of relaxed, and we thought, well, actually, let's just enjoy it, because it was logistically a nightmare beforehand trying to coordinate everything and to get everyone. And we were
Right.
running really behind. Believe it or not, we were running, I think, an hour behind schedule, weren't we, at one
Yeah,
point?
about an
And I think,
hour.
and then we brought it
Yeah.
back.
Mm. Mm.
So to do something, we're ahead. No, yeah, we're behind a lot, and to get through everything, and we had to cut a few things out, but I don't think nobody noticed, and we got away with it. And yeah, and it was just great to relax. And the casino, I could have done that for hours. That was
Oh,
great fun.
same. Yeah, completely agree. It's that was the part where you really had the chance to start to socialize with everyone and lighten up. And I remember having a talk with you and kind of taking it all in, like, wow, we're really here now. We're next to each other, real life. We're having drinks, we were toasting,
Mhm.
and man, this is what life is about. We were kind of in that spirit at that point. So yeah.
And the quiz was great. Everyone
Oh,
enjoyed it.
really?
And
Yeah.
a great group there of people
Yeah.
that worked hard. And this is the day after when we went on location.
And that's amazing. Actually, Matt,
Yeah.
I must say this actually now, as I remember, is that on the Saturday night, we did not know how many people were going to be on the tour, did we?
No, we didn't. No.
To be fair,
It was still quite a
didn't know.
large group out of,
it
obviously
is, isn't it? Really?
not everyone, but still a lot went with us on the Sunday. Yeah.
I'm really surprised. I'm so thankful for everyone that did go on the tour, because as I just said, I thought when I was speaking to Matt that we were going to end up with about a dozen people, and we thought, oh, it's just going to be a couple of cars or 2 or 3 cars, and then all of a sudden there's how many are there? About 30 of us, I think.
Yeah. And I remember we had to squeeze Jeroen and Lilith in the back of my car, and
your car with all your merchandise stuff.
We had boxes of merchandise and things, because we were checking out, weren't we, at that point? So we had all of our luggage, and I said, "Oh, really sorry, guys, but you've got to have these on your legs and whatever." And it was good fun. It was traveling around. We did Shrublands, didn't we? Thunderball, Black Park, where we looked at
only
the
church,
events.
St Giles, as we say.
No, Black Park was so much fun, because most of the locations were just trees and bushes that happened to be in the movies, but it was so amusing to me especially because I also was there with Lyrid, who was kind of filming us, like, so now I'm filming a bunch of guys looking at the correct tree and Octopussy, and we spent ages looking for and
also an fence where the entrance to the Goldfinger Fort
I never
Knox
knew that was actually in Black Park. So much fun, and I liked the bit that no one was complaining, that we were walking through woods, and it was just all in good fun. This was a lot of fun as well, the final dinner.
Well, we had a bit of trouble, didn't we? Because we kind of thought, wow, we didn't expect to have this amount of people at the end. I mean, bearing in mind that I think me and Nick must have had 3 hours sleep, because we was up to about 4 o'clock in the
4 in the morning,
evening, Saturday, and even the
Mm.
Friday, which talking to Norman and Terry and we had 4 hours sleep on both nights, yet we're still trying to do this thing. But I'm really, really disappointed we couldn't get to a Toby, because obviously, Jeroen, you was looking forward to Toby.
Oh, and that was funny, because it wasn't even that I was really looking forward to it. It was just like someone on the tour mentioned, like, hey, should we have dinner at Toby's? And I was like, I'm not from the UK, so I've never heard of it. So I asked Matt, so what's Toby's? Like, what are they talking about? Where are we going to have dinner? I had no idea. But this was great.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, no, go on, Matt.
Just going to say, anyone not from the UK, Toby's is just a slang word for Toby Carvery, which is just a traditional Sunday roast. But it's a reasonable price. But obviously, bearing in mind, this was a Sunday, and we hadn't booked, and we had a large group. There was no way. We've spent about 20 minutes trying to find different things. But in the end, coincidentally, we went back to Pinewood.
We never thought that we should use Pinewood as a venue right at the end, which would have been a no-brainer, really, wouldn't it, if we had thought about it earlier? But I was just going to add, Matt, that it's ironic that was our probably a 4th walking tour event, wasn't it? And and that's 3 out of 4 now. It's rained, I think.
Yes,
that's
rain.
And the irony behind all this is the fact that all the times we've gone out on the recce, sourcing the locations, it's never rained.
Yeah, you're right.
Remember when we went to Tobacco Dock for The World Is Not Enough? I mean, it didn't rain on the day we were there the first time, and then it rained.
I think it mainly started pouring once we got inside. I think
we was in the park. We were walking down towards the Fort Knox entrance.
Oh yeah, we got a little bit of rain there as well. I already forgot about it. Yeah, that's right.
It's crazy when you remember things. Right, I think it's time for another clip. and then we'll do our giveaway. So we've got another clip here. This is of another Bond girl with her experience on the set of On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Scene and playing and doing a lot of good things and to survive. They're there for 4 months at least.
4 months? What? Say that again. Where were you for 4 months?
Up in the mountains.
Oh, that one! How was the air? How was the air? Because it must have taken you a while to get used to it. Yeah, I wondered. I couldn't do that. I'd have such migraine. Yeah.
After a while, sort of
You get used to it.
pressure.
4 months.
I know. Especially the ladies, they put a mirror, catch the sun, and they get
Oh, of course. Not the silver foil.
Yes.
Back in the day,
Exactly.
silver foil was always
Sue Lloyd did it with silver.
silver
That's
foil.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And there's an interesting scene. Yeah, obviously very, very seductive scene when you've got a banana in your hands. So how did that come about? Was that written in the script, or did you just ad lib that?
I mean, as a child, when you're given banana to eat, you just peel the banana and eat it. Well, the director did not say it to me, no, Sylvan, you have to cut the banana and eat it bit by bit. So I normally just peel the banana and stuff it in my mouth. And that's it, and it became such a thing. In Germany, they said, no, it's not good. You cannot have this woman with banana in the mouth.
There's great memories of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I remember that because this panel came out of after a lot of obviously male dominant panels, and then you got the Bond girls, and all of a sudden the tone shifted to it was so lighthearted, wasn't it? Like they were talking about bananas and how cold the studio was, and Maggie was kind of jealous that the other two went to exotic locations. She was
Yes.
only in the studio.
Yeah, at Pinewood, yes.
Yeah.
That was it. She went. I think she said, "Oh, where did we go? Where did we go, Matthew?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't go anywhere. But I know you went to Pinewood, and I think Jamaica, Louisiana." And she was like, "Oh my goodness!" And Caroline went to Sardinia, and
Yeah.
Silvana was on the top of a mountain in the Swiss Alps. It's
Yeah.
crazy when you think about it. In comparison, she got a set in a bedroom in a wardrobe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just can't make it up, can you?
Mm.
If you would have said a Bond film is going to open on a set in Pinewood, compared to in an exotic location, I don't think I really thought about that before in Live and Let Die. It's not your traditional kind of opener, is it? It's
No.
completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, this is after the title sequence, and I think after the title sequence, it kind of zones in on Maddie's face because she made a big deal. She didn't like that. She said she didn't realize until she'd watched the film that after the title sequence, it's on her face. Usually, we're somewhere, in the world. But yeah, I think was that the first time we see Bond's home? Could be wrong.
Yes,
No,
it is,
Doctor
I think.
No.
Oh, no.
Dr.
Oh,
To know.
oh, yes,
There
of
we go.
course. When he comes in the door, puts his keys on the
Sylvia
table.
Trent. Yeah.
That's it. Yes, that
But
is
it's
it.
it's
Yeah,
one
you're
of
right.
three. It's one of three because obviously you have it in Spectre as well with Bond, the TV on the ground and stuff.
Yeah, and that's quite a nice touch. That's supposed to be John Barry's flat, wasn't it?
No, that was that was M's home
M's
in
flat.
Skyfall. That was
M's home,
John
yes.
Barry's. Yeah.
Ah, that was it. Yeah, mixed up now. But yeah, no, it's a lot. There's a lot of Easter eggs in there somewhere. But yeah, no, the ladies were terrific. The ladies were terrific, and I just think the stories they had from an absolutely fantastic era. I mean, Roger Moore. Everyone would dream of being a Bond girl in the Roger Moore era because it must be so much fun. Must have been brilliant, to be involved in that. And I know I've got Caroline. I've got a clip of Caroline here, and some really great stories on the set. Should we play them?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
She was
let's
one of my
go.
favorites. Absolutely.
Here we go. And it's all about the wig, where that originates, and I think it's about that and a funny story on set. Let's give it a listen.
That was all. Was it you, or was it a bit of direction there?
It was actually, yes.
Yeah, I did play Naomi, and I liked her. I thought she was quite feisty and quite. I thought, having met Roger and having just absolutely thought he was one of the nicest people I've ever met. He was so sweet and funny, very witty, very kind of, sparkly. He was sparkly, but he was also warm and wonderful as an actor. He gave you a lot. He gave me. I was very nervous, but he was fantastic. And the wink actually came about by they hadn't got any close-ups of me flying the helicopter, which I think I did quite well, don't you? Well, until I didn't. But so in fact what they did, Lewis Gilbert said, "Oh, Caroline," he said, "we need you back for a day because we've got no shots of you because we did all the main stuff in Sardinia." So I went back to Pinewood. They had the helicopter, my Bell Jet Ranger, and they had that there. But I didn't have Lewis. I had Ernest Day, who was, I'm sure a lot of you know. You would know Ernest Day. Do you not remember Ernest Day? Yes, of course you do. He was the second unit director, and so we were there, and he said, "I'm not quite sure what we'll do, so we'll do a few things. You think of a few, and I'll think of a few." So we did, and the wink, I kind of came up with a bit of a wink, and I blew a kiss, and I did various things, and the wink was the one that stayed in. So yeah, they kept that.
Yeah,
Which is lovely.
Yeah, we've all grateful gigs. It's a very iconic moment.
I don't know about that. Back to you. Oh, we've got two.
Yeah, we've got two.
Fabulous.
Yep. Here we go. And one fun thing, when you was in the, was it the boat, I think, you had an interesting story, didn't you? Because there was a bit of, something caught fire, didn't it? Should we put it mildly?
I'm sure a lot, well, I don't know, some of you might have heard of it. It's a bit daft, really. But anyway, this was my first scene. And I was nervous, but I kind of rehearsed it in my mind, and we'd blocked it through a little bit. And my first scene was to go in the speedboat, which was a Riva speedboat, so right out to sea. So we had the driver there. We had a wonderful little clapper boy, kind of lying on the floor, so down there, so ready to hear when Lewis shouted action. So I was there. I was all ready. And ready to go, and Roger was ready to come down the stairs with Barbara, and we were going to say our lines and all that stuff, good stuff. And we were out in the speedboat. We went way out to sea. He said because he wanted the speed. Lewis wanted the speed to feel the speed coming in. And he said, "Now, Caroline, when you're out there," he said, "I want you stand up first so we can see you standing up." And then he said, on the thing of action, you sit down." Right, okay. And then you stand up as you approach Roger and Barbara. So, okay, I had that in my head, right. So I was ready to go, and we were out at sea, way out at sea, and then I suddenly thought, there's something funny going on here. I heard a sort of noise going, I thought, what is that? Maybe it's the speedboat. I thought, it must be the speedboat, maybe something's wrong. Anyway, I was out there, and what happened was he shouted, "Action!" So I went, and I was up there, and I was looking quite, fearsome, and came along, and then the action was to sit down, sat down, and as I sat down, I thought, oh my God, my bum is on fire. Something was really hot and burning on my undercarriage. So I thought, what is this? And this was my big entry scene. I've got to be on. Roger's there, Barbara's there, the camera's there. So then I stood up, and as I stood up, I'm looking a bit peeved off at that point because I thought something has happened to my bottom. I don't quite know what. And then so got there, did the lines, and if you re-look at the scene, I do look very, very tough. Basically what had happened, poor thing, I'd squashed a bee, I'd sat down on a bee. This was my big scene, so that was my entrance.
And that was a bit they kept in the film.
That was the bit they kept in the film.
So you can actually,
they kept that in the film.
You did very well to hold it together.
And Roger, yeah, no, we did. And then Roger was very sweet. I think, and to my recollection, he said, he said, "Would you like me to kiss it better?" Of
course he did.
Louisa was just right there behind the camera, and I thought, nah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Typical
Yeah.
Roger. Typical Roger. That
Yeah,
moment.
you never get inside information like this, like I said
No,
before, on any documentary. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky. And Mark just says Carolyn Monroe was so sweet. She did a great interview with Roger on GMTV, I think it was. They play the clip where she gets shot down. And this one from Tim, it's quite interesting. Once saw Caroline Monroe at a Comic-Con convention with a live python around her neck. Quite a sight. That
Wow.
must have been something. That
Fantastic.
must have been.
Yeah.
I wonder how many photo shoots she got with that. It's a rare occasion, that. But no, I mean, she was great, and they did stay for quite a long while as well, which was always nice, and to have a chat and everything like that. But yeah, you know, it's just that them stories. I had heard that one before, that's why I mentioned it. But I thought it's such a good story that not a lot of people would know, and I knew off
Yeah.
the top of my head that that's a really good one. And
Yeah.
I
Good
didn't
call.
expect to get the response where she said, "Oh, I think Roger said this." That kind of shocked me. I was like, "Whoa, I didn't know." You know, these
Yeah.
are things that we, as Bond fans, we like to hear these reactions.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, she
So
was the one obviously I didn't you obviously got autographs from all of the guests, I think. But obviously not of all of the autographs were free, so I got the Carolyn Monroe one because I think she was one of the, well, they were all big guests, but out of the Bond girls, I wanted hers because she's got quite the prominent role. Not to disrespect the other two, they were great as well. But yeah, she was so sweet, wasn't she? She great girl, great
Oh, she
woman,
is.
I
She's
should say, great
fantastic.
woman.
Oh, yes.
And I got
Yeah.
a picture with all three Bond girls with Lyrit because she wanted to take a picture with all of them, and they told her like, yeah, you can be a future Bond girl. They they told her, and then, no, it's really great to meet these lovely women. Great stuff
There we
in
go.
real
So
life.
let's put a bit on our prediction for Bond 26. Then Lyrith is a Bond girl. There we go. Anything can happen.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh, who knows? But no, it was that was. I've seen that picture, and unfortunately, I can't source it. It's somewhere, but it's a fantastic picture with all the Bond girls and Lyrith together. It's great,
Yeah.
great picture. I don't have it to display, but it's great.
No,
Right,
no.
what we're gonna do? Giveaway time. So we're
Giveaway
gonna do a
time.
giveaway. So we're gonna give things away here. Not everything, but okay. So we have this
Yeah, I got that one.
souvenir program from You've Had Your 60, and it isn't filled with like 100 pages because this was, believe it or not, 8 pages was very expensive to make, and this fantastic artwork is from Ruben Wakeman, Toys of Bond. So just
Yeah.
giving him a little shout out there because he organized, well, he kind of designed the layout, and he was a massive help. And here you've got kind of like an entrance, like a welcome. Now, a bit of something that you guys might not have known, but you know what this space here was for?
I don't know. No.
Apparently, this was for autographs. Apparently,
Oh, I never
Yeah,
use
so-
it for autographs.
yeah, I know, because Ruben said, you know, there's a bit of space here, but I think you can use that for autographs. So I thought, you know what, that's a good idea. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I got mine signed by all the guests, and I used, because he said that to me, I got them all to sign it in that area. I don't have
Right.
it on me, but yeah, so I'll have to show that one time. But yeah, like all the guests, it's a fantastic program. I think David Zaritsky showed it on his YouTube channel or Instagram.
He did,
channel as well.
yeah. There's a little
You've
bit
got-
of you got quotes of me and David Saritsky and other
Yeah.
Bond community people in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Well,
I remember.
last year, last summer, some of our pictures.
Yeah.
And this is about the Bond legacy, and this is something that I was working on last summer. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I interviewed you.
Oh,
and
yes.
David
Yeah.
Zaritsky. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress because I realized, and this will be coming this year. I'm hoping it will be coming by the end of the year because it was 15 hours of footage. I interviewed
Wow.
6 people in the Bond community for about sometimes it was an hour, sometimes it was half an hour, so I have loads of footage and to edit that, it's a big job, and I started doing it and it's already an hour and a half and I'm not finished.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's going to be like I'm trying to
I
do
had-
like a documentary style about 60 years of Bond. But I just, with the event and Shaken Not Stirred and work, and there was no way we could get it out in time. So yeah, that's
Yeah, but
something to look
you
forward to. But yeah,
got it in the. I thought it was totally for this thing for the which already
no,
is
no, 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 no.
officially.
We're
Yeah.
gonna no that, but it's in there. So some of the things that people have said are in here. So let's have a look what we got in here. Warren Ringham, cue the music. Ruben Wakeman, tours of Bond. Matt Spazia, Bond suits. Vicky Hodges, Bond room unlocked. And then we've got the Bond community at the back. So these we're going to give away. And we're going to play a video. And I think this will be the question I think we'll ask is this actor that we're going to play next, the next video, what Bond film were they in? It's a big giveaway. It's a big giveaway. Everyone should get this that knows Bond. But if you get it right, this is yours. We'll post it out to you. Okay, so let's play the next clip. Which two films, shall we say, has this Bond actor appeared in? Let's put it there. 2 films. Okay, are we ready? Let's play the latest clip.
We're in Switzerland, and it's the attack on Pittsburgh. And I'm with George, 007. I'm the second out the helicopter, Gabriel Fusetti, and then 6 stuntmen. So we jumped out, and my action was to the left of the camera. I had a couple of handguns and a couple of hand grenades. So I'm throwing hand grenades, firing from the hip, and George is on the floor, firing his machine gun. And he said, "Terry, quick, the bloke in front of you." So I looked up to my right, and there's a Swiss guard with his back to the camera, firing this big machine gun. Now he would have killed everybody. So I ran up to him, I kicked the gun out of his hand, grabbed him, turned him so the camera could see what I was doing, and I shot him. And he stood there with egg on his face. I said, "You're dead, you cunt, get down, get down, get down." So he's still looking at me. So I got carried away and been a method actor. I hit him twice with a gun on his head, and his head just burst open. So Peter Hemp came out with the assistant directors, and to try and stop the action, it wasn't easy, because there's 3 helicopters there, all the stunt boys are ready to go. So Peter said, "Who is this bloke? Where did he come from? I got everybody in. I got a perfect shot. Who is this bloke?" So this bloke's on the floor with his head wide open. George looked at me and he went, "George, what, I got carried away." I said, "Peter," I said, "I didn't realise you couldn't speak English." He said, "Terry, your action was perfect, but there's no way I can use it." He said, "He would have killed everybody." So we re-rehearsed the shot, and it worked. Now, 4 years ago, we're in Switzerland again for the 50th anniversary of On Her Majesty's. Tremendous event. So George said to me, he said, "Terry," he said, "you watch that Swiss guard is not looking for you 50 years on." I said, "George, I'm thinking about that." but terrific fun. I'm so lucky to have done it, really, so lucky. If you get the opportunity of going to Switzerland, to Pittsburgh, you've got to do it. You've got to go there. It's heaven on earth. That's what it is. And if you go there and don't enjoy it, let me know, and I'll pay the bill. Some oaths. But thanks very much indeed. Yeah, that's great. Super. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Terry. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was so yeah, apologies for the swearing, but we're all adults here. We should be okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
And it was just I remember him saying, I said, "You got to say about this, that was a great story." And, if you think about it, if that would have, actually happened and this guy actually shot the helicopters down, it could have killed everybody on that set.
Yeah.
It's quite a big deal when you think about it. You think George Lazenby, Diana Rigg, it's everybody there.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
it's it's not worth thinking about, is it? It's crazy. So,
No.
yeah, Terry was a bit of a hero there, in that sense. But what a story!
Yeah.
What a story!
Yeah. Great
And
guy.
I remember he
And he,
said, he said, I said, you got to do the story. He goes, well, I'm not sure because I have to use swearing because it just isn't the same. I was
Yeah.
like,
No,
okay,
it makes it authentic of what of the story. So yeah.
yeah, it's
and his
hilarious. But
and his other story is really good about getting the bottle of brandies to fight George in the sea.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah,
Great
no,
guy.
that was a great one. But yeah, no, yeah, great stories. But I like the Diamonds Are Forever when him and George Cooper, who was the guy with the sideburns, he was the other henchman in the Diamonds Are Forever when Blofield's guards, aren't they? And then Sean Connery just throws a couple of scaples at him and he gets killed.
Mm.
And Terry got the part where he goes, "Put your hands up, stop, put your hands up." Terry got the part for that because it was supposed to be George Cooper, but apparently his Cockney accent was so thick he just
Yeah.
couldn't pull it off. And
Mm.
Terry's got a very big, clear, booming voice. And when
Yeah.
he said, "Put your hands up," the whole set apparently stopped. And Sean Connery turned around and
Stopped.
said,
Mm.
"Who was
Mm.
that?" Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a great story he has as well. But yeah, he's actually the last surviving British cast member from Diamonds Are Forever,
Mhm.
sadly.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's crazy. Yeah.
over 50 years old now, isn't it, the film? So yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so whoever got that right, you'll be getting a program. Now, we're going to select it at random, and we'll give you a few minutes. So which two Bond films did Terence Mountain appear in? And we do actually have, to make this even more interesting, we actually do have two programs. So we'll give away two programs and we will send them out. So let's have a look at that in a little while. So yeah, let's talk about some Bond news. So in general, GoldenEye got released yesterday. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
played it yet, Duran, or you've tried to
I
download
do
it.
have a Nintendo Switch. I haven't downloaded it yet, but it was on my to-do list. Like you, I was just after with a generation in the gaming, so I've never grew up
Mhm.
playing that game.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've obviously I've heard it. Yeah, that it's been released now.
yeah. I mean, I haven't got the Switch, but I downloaded it on the Xbox, and it looks really good.
Mm.
I mean, for a '90s game, it looks as
Mm.
good as it can because graphics weren't fantastic. But yeah, I think they've done a good job trying to get it in HD, but it just feels really strange. I mean, I missed that era. I wasn't really a part of that. I didn't get into Bond till later. So mine was the PS1 with Tomorrow Never Dies and The World Is Not
Mhm.
Enough, them games. That
Yeah,
was my kind of and that was great because you actually you got to see Bond in 3D, you got to ski, you got to do this. It was more like you were kind of and they showed the film clips. I don't know if you remember, but they showed the actual gun barrel at the start and different
Okay. Mhm.
clips.
Mm.
And that felt like he was in the film, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah,
yeah,
obviously that for that GoldenEye generation, that's what made the film even stronger, really.
yeah.
Um, Nick, do you remember any games from like the 80s? Because they released a few games on the Spectrum, didn't they? Or the
Oh,
Commodore?
blimey, yes, that's going back a long time. Yeah, Commodore 64, Spectrum, the BBC computer.
Yeah,
Mm.
Now I was just the early 2000s. They released Agent on the Fire, Nightfire, Everything or Nothing.
Mhm. Mm.
That's when I was playing Bond. I remember mainly those games. That
yeah. I
you
met,
were kind of Pierce Brosnan in most of them.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Oh, that
cool.
was great. I remember Nightfire when he had they actually reconstructed Pierce Brosnan's face, and that was the
Yeah,
first game that I
Mhm.
yeah,
think that had the actor's face
and
reconstructed.
it still looks good
Mm.
to this day. I mean that
Yeah,
was released before Die Another Day was
it
released. I
was.
Mhm.
think it
Yeah,
did have the Die Another Day car in that game, but it was just before the movie was released, and then after
yeah,
Die Another Day, they did Everything or Nothing, which also not just only had Pierce Brosnan's likeness, but also the voice acting. It was him, his
Mhm.
yeah.
voice.
I remember I really was into Bond at this point, and I was quite,
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't have no internet as such because we didn't have internet in our house. It was kind of a rare thing if you had it.
yeah,
And at school, I think we had it, but that was about it. But so you kind of, it's amazing how you heard things on the news about certain films, about this and that. But now it's everywhere. You can't escape it, you know.
Yeah.
But back then, we managed to get bits of information, and I always sort of kept on top of which games were coming out. Well, that Christmas, I didn't even know Nightfire was made. I didn't even no idea about it. That was
Yeah.
when the Xbox got released, the original one. I got it for Christmas, and I had Nightfire. I was like, whoa! And obviously, my mum and dad knew I was big on Bond, so that I was just playing that
Yeah.
the whole Christmas, and I was
Yeah.
just thinking it was a shame they didn't have his voice in it, because I think the guy that played Pierce Brosnan's voice was Max Caulfield, I think, from Grease
I
2.
had
Oh,
no
really?
idea.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
he
he
did
was
it.
also Max Caulfield was also in the Coldies,
Yeah,
if you
yes.
remember the 80s.
Hmm. I had no idea.
Yeah, so he was, and I think he was in Casualty at one stage as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's strange how they took the voice, but Everything or Nothing, that felt like a Bond film, and to this
Yeah.
day, it still feels like, you know, another Pierce Brosnan Bond film, and that it could have ended on rather than Die Another Day.
Yeah, because there's Willem Dafoe is in there, Heidi Klum, Richard
Yeah,
Keel, who they use his likeness. You have to battle Jaws with Pierce Brosnan, and it was a cool story as well because I remember the villain that Willem Dafoe played. I can't remember his name, but he was supposed to be like an apprentice of Max Zorin from A View to a Kill.
yes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah,
So that was a nice bit of continuity. And then Pierce Brosnan, I remember that bit from Everything or Nothing where Judi Dench goes, yeah, he was an apprentice of Max Zorin. And then Brosnan goes, yeah, we played bridge once. He lost. You
yeah,
know, great,
yeah.
great
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm.
That
Yeah,
was you know what I was thinking of that in my head. Yeah, we played bridge together once. Yeah, that was
he
such a great
lost.
line.
Yeah, yeah,
And
Mm.
you know, I was sitting there thinking, how cool is this? Yeah.
yeah,
To add Richard Kill back as Jaws, it was a bit crazy, wasn't it? Really, it was a
yeah.
mishmash of everything. But I mean, what a great game, and I think Willem Dafoe still could be a great Bond villain. He would be a great
Still to
Bond
this
villain.
day, yeah, yeah. He's the
Yeah.
Joker now, isn't
Mm.
he? Or
Oh,
wasn't he
is he?
supposed to be? Or maybe it's a fan thing. No, he's not the Joker. But I think
Okay.
I've seen
Mm.
images of him. You know, people always wanted him as a Joker. I think that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, he would be great. I mean, he was great in Spider-Man, I think, as well. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
the last one, he was great. And I read something that um what was it called? Spider-Man No Way Home, wasn't it? And then when they had like the
Mm.
multiverse, everyone was in it. But
yeah,
he read a thing saying he wouldn't come back unless he had a decent sized part and he liked what he you know played, and he was great in that.
yeah.
Unbelievable actor, unbelievable actor. But yeah, so we're going to move on to community news now because there's been a lot going on in the Bond community, hasn't there? Been lots of stuff happening. We're going to start with probably James Bond Radio. We should give them a little shout out as well because
Right.
obviously we found out that they're obviously Chris and Tom for reasons, you know, personal reasons, things, everything
Mhm.
like that. You know, they've had to, should we say, put it on hold for now because I think
Yeah.
they'll be back one way or another in the future. I just think
Yeah,
life
I
gets
think
in the
I
so
way
hope
too.
so. Yeah.
sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah, I think life gets in the way, and
That's
sometimes you
where
need a
that's
break.
I started off with quite a few years ago when I was looking for online reviews of soundtracks for some odd reason. I just wanted to see what other people thought about see if they could review the albums. And I found JBR, and it was mainly the soundtrack podcast I listened to, and they went into so much depth into each cue, artwork, and everything. And there was another great guy that used to join them called John Williams. I think he joined them from LA,
Yeah,
and he had such a great insight into each of the tracks. But yeah, it's sad time, but I'm sure they will, as you say, Matt, they will be back in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I mean, you know, they're always going to be there. I mean, how many years of incredible episodes they've created. And I mean, a podcast, I kind of think that takes more time than any other thing because you have to
Mm,
get the sound spot on to release a podcast. You have to get the intro, the outro, the equalized volume, or whatever the technical aspects of it. You know,
Yeah.
it's not as easy as doing other things. I don't think. I think a podcast is actually quite challenging. So I do
it
respect
is.
anyone that does do any kind of podcasting because you've got to record, you've got to get the guest in, then you've got to make sure the guest audio is fine. without the audio, it's gone, isn't it? So you need
It
to
is.
be
Oh,
on the
definitely, yes.
recording.
Yeah.
I was very lucky to be one of their guests on their 7th year anniversary. I remember I got asked by Chris. He said, "Would you come on to be a guest?" So I
I
was like,
remember
"Okay
that one.
then."
I saw it at that one. I remember.
Yeah. And I
I
watched it. I rewatched it again recently, actually, and I just laughed at some of the comments. I thought it was hilarious. Some of the comments was like, "Oh, this Cockney guy only liked Goldfinger."
yeah, yeah,
It was
Cockney
brilliant. I was
guy.
like, I never saw the comments before, but it's. I mean, I don't know about. I mean, we don't get many comments. We just have to handle stuff from the group. But you, Duran,
Mm.
just out of curiosity, have you got any like comments that you thought, "Wow, this," like some criticism or anything like that? You thought, "Whoa, this is a bit crazy."
a few. Yeah, most of them are very positive. Yeah, there were a couple crazy ones. Some can be nasty that I like to delete, but most of it, I really like to say it's not a lot of hate. I've had
Mm.
some
Good.
weird ones privately through Facebook where there was this guy who was really into, the woke stuff of today, and he kind of went like, well, you're so heterosexual, and you're so I'm like, you're not representing me. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to represent everyone? I'm just and all I do is share opinions on the movies, and
Mm.
but most of it is actually really positive. So I'm recently I did the movie reaction with Lyrit, with the Living Daylights. We do the movie reactions where we put a camera and we just watch. We talk in English. Obviously, we don't do it normally, but we speak English throughout the whole movie watching. And the Living Daylights was one that Lyrit didn't enjoy as much. He liked it, but she gave it a 3-star rating in the end, and that got a lot of mixed reactions, like she should give it better. And one guy actually said you should get a new girlfriend because she she rated the Living Daylights too low. And like some people, I mean, like what? Yeah, that was crazy. But most of it is very
Mm.
positive.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, that's yeah. It is good to hear, and actually, I enjoy your channel a lot. I see them reaction videos are priceless, especially, and I liked how when you was out of him, you filmed the tarantula reaction again
Yeah, yeah.
because Lyric wasn't keen on that, was she?
Mm.
No, and the cool thing was, I remember going to your event, and obviously Doctor No in 4K, and I'm like, when we were sitting down and the screen started, I whispered to her, "You do know you're gonna watch the tarantula in 4K and big screen now?" And she went like, "Oh yeah, that's this one." So I filmed the bit in the cinema where she had to watch the tarantula again, but now in huge. She did not
Yeah,
enjoy that bit. Oh yeah.
that's brilliant. And just got something from Ali here. Uh, Jeroen, your videos are great. Philip Hawkins are great too. Lives in the pictures, passion shines through. And actually, we
Thank
should
you.
give a shout out to Philip because he arranged some of our guests. He paid to attend, but he kind of emailed us and said like, I've interviewed this guest, this guest, this guest. They would like to calm down. So he was responsible for a lot of our guests coming because we originally
Mm.
had 6, didn't we, or
Wow.
007 guests. So he helped us out with a lot of guests there. So it's really, really cool. But yeah, no, it's interesting, isn't it? And Cue the Music is returning at some stage. That's
Yeah,
another
yeah, they
big
are.
thing. I
Great
mean,
news from there.
yeah, we both went to the farewell gig,
Did you
didn't we,
see
back
their
in
little
October?
teaser trailer, their GoldenEye trailer
Oh,
Yes.
spoof? That
Yeah.
was brilliant.
Mm.
Yeah,
Very good.
that was
Mm.
absolutely fantastic. And you know what? I think we did a teaser for this show that we're doing today. We did that, and then Warren messaged me and he said, "Look at this. What do you think?" And I was like, "Whoa, this is going to be so good." And
yeah,
it was like it wasn't the best quality either, but because it just sent it to me from my phone, so it wasn't the best quality. And an amazing thing because you know they've just finished. I had no idea they'd even got together and thought about returning, and
yeah,
then they just boom, GoldenEye. What a great tease and a great reintroduction and a great
Mm.
way of keeping everybody aware of what they're doing.
yeah. No, completely agree.
That was that was amazing stuff.
I hope we
I
get
think I
something
think
from James Bond Radio like that in a few years of Tom and Chris
Yeah.
returning
well,
in
Mm.
similar style.
I reckon a few years down the line, probably have. I reckon they'll probably jump out of a plane or something crazy. You know what they're like,
Yeah,
especially Chris.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's up for
Mm.
them stunts, isn't he? You know.
yeah.
It'll be something
I told
spectacular.
I put a comment on their video, like, who knows? Maybe 10 years down the line, you guys might find the energy and ground to return, and who knows? By that time, Bond 26 might might be
Oh
released.
yes. Mm.
Yeah.
10 years.
Oh,
But yeah,
absolutely. So back to the giveaway. I've been looking for a few comments, and I think we have two winners here. We have Graham Wilbraham on Emergency Secret Service Diamonds Are Forever. This is which two films did Terrence Mountain appear in? So you've got yourself a program, Graham, and I'm going through the list, and there is
congratulations.
one more. Neil Taylor on
Of
Emergency
course,
Secret
Neil.
Service and
Oh,
Diamonds Are Forever.
well
So
done,
Neil.
guys.
So
Well done,
well done.
Graham.
So if you
Well
just
done, Neil.
Graham and Neil, just message us on our Facebook page or accounts or on the group. Well, don't do it on the group. Message us privately your address, and we'll get them sent out to you. But yeah, well done, and let us know what you think of the program. And they're limited edition. There was only 100 made. I think there was about 100 made. So we're we're whittling them down now, which was pretty
They'll be
cool.
worth a lot more, Matt, when you sign them as well.
Yeah. Oh, that
Yeah, you may
devalues
as
them.
well. You may as well.
I'll probably devalue it, but yeah. Well, only if they want that. Yeah, no charge. But that goes on to our next topic. What is happening, Nick? We've shaken, not stirred. What are we going to announce
Well,
this year? What have we got?
we have coming up to start with, we have a online mission where we will get people to volunteer their services to defend a theme song of their choice. And we will have a draw, and they're all going to a hat. And they will just be a match play tournament to find the favourite theme song through a series of polls. And that will start in a couple of weeks, take us up to Easter. We then have, I believe, in early summer, late spring, early summer, something along the lines of a event around Fleming. Low-key events, but nevertheless, it should include a walking tour, like we always do. So it'll be guaranteed rain, no doubt. So bring your brolly, and then possibly an evening in the pub, potentially with a guest on the line, a writer maybe coming along to that one potentially. And then I believe our main event will be October.
Yeah.
And then
I think that's what we're looking at.
maybe another
Great
couple of
stuff.
surprises along the way. So yeah.
So if anyone hasn't done our group missions before, these just appear on Facebook, and what we do is we did loads of different things. We did title sequences last time.
We can go through. We've gone through a whole list, haven't we, Matt, of different topics.
Yeah.
Which, in fact, actually 4 years ago in March, we started off with a Bond girl focus, and the focuses ran for best part of 7-8 months, and Matt and I did practically most of the work on those in terms of going through a load of different choices of the girls. We had villains, henchmen, soundtracks, gadgets, and locations. And then just after COVID started, I think April 2020, we decided that the group should start to defend their own choices. So we started off with a World Cup style event on pre-title sequences. If you remember back then, 2020, 3 years ago, believe it or not.
That's a long time ago.
3 years.
Pre-title sequences, Jerome, and then we had a wacky race. The wacky races was essentially pick your own car, wasn't it?
That was our best one. That was our best one.
That's the vehicle.
Because,
and there were some fantastic entries in that. Absolutely. Some of the people, Philip Latchford, Toria Hodges, kicked it out of the ballpark with some of their entries.
Yeah. And I remember I made these cards. So everyone got randomized cards and they could play them at any point. So it was like a game. We made like a online board game, didn't we? And it was 007 Wacky Races. Everyone got assigned a vehicle, and then your vehicle would get voted out. But you could play this card, and I designed these cards. I don't have them now, and it was like Submerged was one of them. You were it was showing the Lotus going underneath the water, it's saying you can play this card and get through to the next round. You're submerged underwater, no one can knock you out. And it was
Right.
great ways of using sort of wacky races. I don't know if you've seen wacky races, but
Yeah,
how
yeah,
they
yeah,
use
I do.
different.
You
Yeah,
can't- yeah.
it's what a classic show, and trying to work out how we can get wacky races into Bond and into a game. And it was brilliant. It was. I think it's my favourite focus we've done.
Yeah,
That
we're
one.
very
And
creative.
yeah, and also the Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me won that event.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Yeah, great car.
in fact, ironically enough, the first style of event that we're now doing in this kind of World Cup style, the pre-title sequence is won by the Spy Who Loved Me as well.
It's probably the best one. Yeah, very
Mm.
fair.
Yeah.
And then the ski jump one in the Iconic Scenes Film Festival, Matt. Back
It did,
in April,
Yeah.
that was in April 2021.
So the Spy
It
Who Loved Me
was.
just keeps winning, basically.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
last year was On Her Majesty's title sequence, which, can you guess, Jerome, which one won that one? So this is the title sequence. So
Yeah. So the
essentially
song and the
yeah,
not
the
song,
whole
just
package.
the graphics.
Yeah, the
Was
title,
it- or
the
was it?
title. Yeah, well, the kind of whole package, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know which one won. I would say it's probably maybe one of the modern ones. So maybe GoldenEye or
Yes.
Casino Royale. Was it?
Oh yeah, well done, Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Casino
Nice.
Royale,
that was
yeah.
an overwhelming, and also just another stats because I like a bit of stats. Back in July 2019, Matt, we had the Henchman focus, and that one had the most votes of any of the other polls I've ever seen.
Wow. Really?
Amazingly, going back, I think that poll alone had 220 people. I don't think it's
Wow, that's crazy.
even come, which is not too bad for taking part in the group votings.
No, exactly. I think that's pretty good going, and we're starting one in February. Title songs, is that correct, or are we doing songs in Bond? Because there's a few songs that
Well,
like we have all the time in the world and things like that surrender. So we'd have to have a
we
think about how we're going to play this one. Yeah,
it was based on at the start theme songs, but then we could merge it
theme
into
songs.
songs of Bond.
There are a
Hmm.
lot. You've got the Christmas
are.
song in Majesties. You got the
Yes, yeah,
Necros
Pretenders.
song of the
Yeah.
that he listens to on the Walkman.
Mhm.
I think that was by John Barry as well. So yeah, there's so much to think about with that one.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, there's two events there. Then mainly, Matt, we could have theme songs, and then later on this year we could have songs of Bond.
Yeah, we could do. That's two. We just made another one up. That's handy.
Yeah.
That's good ammunition.
But our big
yeah.
one, our big event mission online this year will be the 007th one, which will be
Yes.
the best Bond film.
Yeah, we've got to do that. This has to happen this year. So we're going
Nice.
to work
That
out
one
which the
will-
best Bond film is. But what
Yeah.
we're going to do, like a Premier League style football thing where each film takes on each film at least once. So it's like a
Right.
football match. If you win, you're in the
Yeah.
leaderboard, you get 3 points. And I think we'll do it like something like that. And every
Yeah.
member that wants to be involved gets one film, and they have like to defend their film. So they'll put up a post and they'll go, I think this film is really good because of this, and this,
Nice. Yeah.
And you can be as creative as you like. We've had some great posts in the past.
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
Shredder's done a few, and yeah. So hopefully, a lot of our members here will get involved, and yeah,
Great
And that
stuff.
one-
that'd be amazing.
So theme songs will start in about 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Watch out for posts in the group.
Yes,
Great
definitely.
stuff. So, can you guys give a little bit of a tip of the hat? Obviously, I know you're not looking to top last year's event in October because that's really something else to try and beat that again. But are you guys looking at another weekend event, or are you doing a day, or what is kind of the plan for October? If you guys already thought about this, of course.
Well, we've had a lot of chats. Obviously, even in October at the event, we was even chatting about the next one straight away. There was no, we're not like Eon. We're not going to wait around. We're just going to get on with it,
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun is looking to the next one. What could we do? And I don't think, I mean, from the feedback we got from everybody's saying you can't make the next one any bigger. because it's too big. And to be fair, it was very stressful to, because it was a risk from our point of view, because we're not profit, Shake and Not Stir doesn't make any money. We finance it by people attending our events. If we have money left over, then we reuse it. And we had a lot of money left over from our previous events because they were successful, so we reused it. We had a lot of money in the kitty, which was quite handy. So we ended up doing this for a low price. We are thinking we had something in mind, but we're thinking of changing it now. I think it'll be at least 2 days, and it'll be a similar style. Like I know what you said, Jordan, about the holiday camp feel where everybody's together, and so that's one of the things we want to try and replicate, so that we all stay together at a hotel or somewhere, and then we do a bond tour, possibly London. We're not sure at the moment the details, but was that right, Nick?
Yeah, it's about right. We need to keep it kind of in that kind of thing where we're all together rather just split off in the evening and then come back the next day. It's really good to bond as well through the evening, a few drinks and so on and so forth. It's just where to locate it. I think it's going to be a bit of a
It's
tricky
always
decision.
the worst thing about the last one was we knew where we was going. We were going to Pinewood Studios, and then with the Pinewood Hotel was really the only thing around that area. Like when you went there during it, there was nothing there, was there? There's not many hotels around. It's out of the way, and it just made sense to host it there. And you had to get a car everywhere you went because you're in the middle of nowhere essentially.
Yeah.
So me and Nick, when we host things in London, it's great because we go on to every pub and go, well, let's test this one out. We have a drink. Let's go to this one, have a drink. It's a really fun day.
Yeah. No,
Just going
that
around.
makes sense. But Pinewood was a great venue as well. That hotel, like you just mentioned, it did have that school holiday kind of camp feel because we were all staying over in the same place. And I think especially for people like me coming abroad, it's worth it even more when it's you don't have to fly back the same day, or because that you actually got to stay over and do this whole thing together. And I was gonna say this. I'm glad John brought this up.
Yeah, it's funny.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say this.
Yeah.
The karaoke night thing, or imagine people being drunk like nobody does, or drunk but slightly, because that's great.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think and the last one up with Disco Moonraker as well, probably. But yeah, I mean, I think we could even have a little contest there. I think a little karaoke contest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to drink a few before before I get to do that. But yeah.
Yeah. And it'd be nice. It would be nice if we had the casino again, but that was very expensive, so we're not sure if we can do that. But
Yeah.
we always try to make it realistic, and the ticket prices, from our point of view, we take into account that everyone has to pay accommodation, travel, flights, trains,
Right.
and that costs money. So we want to make it as cheap as possible, but at the same time, we don't want to pay any money out ourselves because we'll be out of pocket.
It
And
was
we do this
really
thing for free.
the price
Yeah.
was worth every penny what you did with the tickets last year. It was really affordable, and I can't speak for everyone, but I found it to be for if you it was a real bang for your buck, so to speak, to see all the stuff you got in return. Like and the 4K screening of Doctor No was even complimentary. That was that you financed that stuff. So yeah, no, great stuff. How I still I still can't imagine how you guys pull that off, contacting Eon and everything.
Yeah, that was hard work,
That-
and there was a reason why we couldn't. We had to finance that ourselves to Pinewood because that was one of the clauses. We only got that viewing because we couldn't essentially, sell any tickets for that separately. We had to finance that, and that was one of the conditions. So,
Yeah.
it was worth every penny. Absolutely. How many times do you go to Pinewood Studios and watch a Bond film in the John Barry Theatre?
It's
Okay,
once
you
in a
can do it,
lifetime. Yeah.
but for some people, and Doctor No may not be shown there again for, I don't know, another 10, 15 years. So,
Yeah.
to have Norman One still there, I think that's maybe, I'm not sure, but I think it was the only time last year where they had someone from that worked on Doctor No watching the film and a
Yeah.
Q&A.
Yeah, it was really
Right.
special.
So, what we're going to do now is one chat. This is a big thing that comes up at the moment. A bit of Bond talk before we say goodbye and good evening. Who should be the next Bond? This is the one that keeps on coming up in our group, and it's going to come up until they make an announcement. So, what's your thoughts, Jordan? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, my favorite, I got two basically who are obviously a bit on the A list, I would say. So I find it highly unlikely, but it's more of a dream choice thing. By far, my top choice at the moment is Henry Cavill. I
Mm,
think if you've watched The Man from Uncle, I think he fully delivered, and he can. I think he can do the light-hearted Pierce Brosnan type of Bond,
yeah,
but
I agree with that.
he could
Definitely.
pull off the grittier as well.
There he is.
Judging from Mission
Oh
Impossible
yeah.
Fallout, yeah,
Mm,
because in
Oh,
Fallout
absolutely.
he was great as well as a more darker. So I think he can do both. Yeah, look at that. That's just Bond right there. I think
Yeah.
there isn't a single actor at the moment who's got Bond written all over him as much as this
yeah.
guy has. Because I think it's the same like with Bronson in the late '80s and early '90s. Like everybody felt like, well, Brosnan's already Bond. He has this similar vibe. Like he's
Yeah.
already like a Bond type. And I'd like to say like. Tom Hardy, he's been mentioned. He isn't necessarily the Bond look, but I think if you pair him up with Christopher Nolan and you do like a Dark Knight type of trilogy, because
Wow.
obviously he's a bit on age, but if you do it planned out, do a trilogy, maybe even a period piece trilogy, and you make it known beforehand, like we're just doing 3 movies. It's going to be Tom
Mm.
Hardy, Christopher Nolan's going to be directing it. It's going to be maybe just do a period piece for 3 movies and then see what you do after that. And then I think Tom Hardy could nail it. But obviously those are
Mhm.
just I don't see those two necessarily becoming Bond because they're such high ranking stars. I think it's
Yeah.
probably going to be an unknown one that we aren't too
Yeah, I
aware
think
of
so
yet.
as well.
But
Mm.
these
Yeah.
are just
It,
dream choices.
it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, for me, Henry ticks all my boxes. I mean, a lot of people say he's wooden, and a lot of people say, "Oh, he's this, he's that, he's done this, this, this." I get that, but you know, he hasn't played the role. He could be really good. He could be the best one. He could be the worst one. It could go any actor who takes on the role. We don't
Yeah.
know how they're going to do until that first film's in the can. We've watched it. We've looked at the reactions, and it's always very negative. I mean, when Daniel Craig became Bond, Casino Royale, the
Yeah.
negativity, bring Pierce Brosnan back websites, things like this. So you're always going to get that because people don't like change. People, a
Yeah.
generation's grown up with that Bond. Like I think it was kind of same with me when Pierce Brosnan weren't coming back as Bond. I was kind of a bit upset. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is weird. What's
I
going to
remember
happen
that.
now?" It's the first time where I've never experienced that change of the guard. Where you got a new Bond, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow!" And it said Daniel Craig come up on the title. I said, "Don't know. It looks weird having someone else's name come up."
Yeah.
But you get used to it and you get on with it, and actually you enjoy the films for what they are. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Daniel Craig era. I do like Skyfall a lot. Do like Casino Royale, uh, and the others are kind of okay. But he did a decent job, and whether you like him or not, he was Bond, and that's what you do. You continue to just support whoever's doing the role. But I would like Henry because I think this guy really would like the role. He talks about it a lot, and it would be
Mhm.
nice to get someone who enjoys it because I think Pierce Brosnan,
Yeah.
Roger Moore, they're the kind of ones who really enjoyed the role, and I think they would have played it until and they couldn't anymore. I mean, Roger did, So
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
grab them.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think they would. But who's your choice, Nick? Just out of interest.
Yeah, or Henry Cavill, I think. I mean, also the fact that whoever they choose has got to do a good length of time with Bond. At least 3 to 4 films. Do you think over what maybe possibly a 10-year period? You would hope they'd not
Yeah,
run out every 2 or 3 years.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd like to think they're going to do what. I mean, hopefully it's not every 5 years because I think Daniel could have done,
Oh, it's no.
eight films. Really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Obviously, he's not that type of guy. I think to because he likes to do other projects and things. But
But Craig was Bond longer than Roger Moore was.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
he only
Crazy
did
when you
five
think about it.
films.
Yeah.
There's only one more than Pierce, and Pierce did 4 in what 5-6 years. When you
Yeah.
think about it, that's crazy.
It's great. Yeah. I wish it could go back to a film every 2 years, but I think that's wishful thinking these days, sadly. 'Cause
Yeah,
Eon seems
I
less
think
hungry to make these movies nowadays than they
Yeah,
were. Yeah.
I think it might
'Cause-
be something to do with the pressure as well, and social media being the way it is. Everything gets leaked, and I think they probably have to be more cautious about what they do now
yeah,
more than ever
but
because
I don't know. It's also that, but I have the book here of Mark Atlas, who wrote the book of what Dalton's third the number 3 Bond
yes,
movie would have been like.
Mhm.
And the weird thing that struck me about that, obviously that film never got made, but they had plans not only for his third film but also his fourth one. So already Eon was obviously in that period between License to Kill and GoldenEye, where they couldn't make a film, but they had plans ready for number 3 and number 4 for Timothy
Mhm.
Dalton.
Mm.
So they were really on top of it. And if you look now, like No Time to Die was in the bag 2019. We're already 4 years after that. That
Yeah,
it
that's
was
true.
finished before COVID,
Yeah.
and they
Mm.
still last year, Barbara was like, "Oh, it's a bit early. We don't have any plans." It's like, well, back in the old days, they always had the
They
plans
always had
ready, and,
someone.
and
Yeah.
now they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we're not
Mm.
ready yet." It's like why? Well, what do you have to do? I mean, you got to start planning, or at least looking around, or they don't seem
yeah.
to be in any sort of hurry, and it's a shame because we're very hungry for Bond 26 kind
I
of
mean,
starting.
from our point of view, what a wasted bit of time that they had during COVID, where No
Right,
Time to
it
Die
was
was
done.
filmed,
Oh,
it was
exactly.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
Mm.
nothing they're going to change. So why don't we
the
go
whole
right? You know what?
2020 and yeah,
Yeah, let's get a new Bond. Okay, they might not have been able to screen test that, but let's get a look at the script. Let's get some ideas, and then let's see who can be Bond. But I mean,
yeah.
this guy's been thrown around a lot.
So,
Um,
do you think this year there could be an announcement then?
I hope so.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Which
Yeah.
but
time
it
You
will
would,
tell. But
yeah. You would hope it would be this year, really.
yeah.
well, you would think so because
Mm.
time's kind of running out. If I
I
mean, we
was
haven't.
hoping for it last year already with the 60-year anniversary. I mean, it seemed like the perfect time to do it, like
Oh, they should have done.
October-ish. Yeah,
Mm.
Oh
but
yeah,
no,
absolutely.
they're not in a hurry, sadly.
No.
No, I think they've got a lot of other things going on. But just out of interest, I've got the odds here for the next Bond. Let's
Oh,
put them up there.
yeah. Well,
So
what is
I
that
thought
based on, though?
this is just
Yeah,
Ladbrokes. This is a betting website.
yeah,
So this is just who they think. So the favourite
yeah,
is Aaron Taylor Johnson. Now,
yeah.
there's a lot of things going on about at the moment. He's filmed the gun
Mm.
barrel. He's done this. He's done. But the one thing that gets me from that is the gun barrel the first thing before you even get the role as Bond? You would not film a gun barrel unless you are Bond,
No,
right?
it's
This
rubbish.
is
I
No.
think.
Mm.
it is rubbish, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I think it. What I like about that pick is actually it's not an unknown, but it's someone who you didn't think about, almost an unknown. That you think
Hmm.
actually, yeah, that kind of could work. So I'm not totally against it. I don't know if you've seen Bullet Train. Any of you have seen Bullet Train?
No, I haven't. No.
No, I only
He,
know him from Kick-Ass, and so
yeah,
obviously he was a lot younger in that one.
Oh, of
So
course. Yes. Yeah. I like it.
yeah,
It's good. Good couple of films, those.
yeah, it
yeah,
is. But
Mm.
to me,
But
he's. I did a video on this, but to me, I don't see it yet. But it's like
yeah,
with Taron Egerton from Kingsman, if you know Kingsman.
mm. Yeah.
Look,
yeah, yeah,
Egerton is like really good for Kingsman, but I don't necessarily see him as James
mm,
Bond. I really,
Yeah.
really like
Mm.
Kingsman. It was so over the top, so much fun, but he still has that youthful appearance, which I think Aaron
Mm.
Taylor has as well. And I think for Bond, you want more of a masculine type of face, like Henry Cavill, for example. So
Mhm.
for
yeah,
me, Aaron Taylor, if he becomes it, he could convince me, but I don't see it yet. That's my point of view. Maybe he
yeah.
can change my mind like Craig did.
I just
Yeah.
think at the moment it could be anybody, anyone on that list. But there's a few on there. Tom Hardy's to 8-1. But then if you look at this other list, I've got this. This is where it gets more interesting. So these are like the outsiders.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, where's he gone? Disappeared.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
it
hang
came
on,
back.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's back now. So you've got on there Jack O'Connell. That wouldn't be too bad. Chris Hemsworth, 100-1.
And his
Not really
brother, the Hemsworth's brother, Liam Hemsworth, he's the favorite for Lazenby at the moment. Lazenby posted about, Liam Hemsworth should be,
Yes.
because he's like, obviously he wants another Australian Bond, so
He's
he's
not
big on
biased
that
at
one.
all, is he?
No,
I like the fact that Stephen Merchant is 500-1. Could be the first ginger Bond.
for a moment I was like Matthew Wood, but it's Matthew Good. So.
To be fair, I'll take odds at 100-1. That's not bad. They'll probably be a lot larger than that in real life. Because the thing that lets me down is I haven't got the height, but you, Jerome, you're quite tall, so that's that's quite an asset there.
The thing I got going against me is obviously I'm not British, so that's kind of a problem as well.
Well, you could have the first Dutch Bond. That would be interesting.
Imagine
that would certainly get people talking. Maybe the reaction. It's an interesting talking point, and I think one that we're always it's gonna be endless until we get an announcement. I like to think James Bond Day 2023. We'll get some crazy announcement. Hopefully, it will be kind of like something that the fans can get involved with, where they go, you know what, we're going to give away 100 tickets to this event. We're going to show you who Bond is, to reveal the next Bond, and then we're going to live stream it to the world. And then the new Bond, they do a gun barrel, and the new Bond comes out, does the gun barrel, and then walks out. That, or what they could have done is they had so much time. I was thinking at the end of No Time to Die, okay, this is the new James Bond, introducing the new James Bond. But anyway, they couldn't do it because of the way they ended it. But if they hadn't have ended it in that way, they could have done it that way. And I thought, how cool would that be? Walking out the cinema thinking, all right, we're set, Bond 26, here we come. But it wasn't to be.
I think if you two were in charge of Eon, we would have had a new Bond like 3 years ago already. So you have some creative ideas there.
Just in between the events.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is, I think if we was in charge of it, we'd get a lot of fans involved, and we'd create probably the craziest Bond film. Because everyone's like, oh, you got to include this, you got to include this, you got to have this, and sometimes it's a good thing. I mean, it would be great. I would love to actually, if they went to us and said, right, as fans, what do you want to see? That would be amazing to actually have any input. But I don't think that will ever happen. I think it will be a closed shop, and they'll come up with. It's usually something that happens in real life. So they did the virus at COVID, which was very strange, with No Time to Die. That was coincidental, I think. And then Skyfall, they had I don't know if Nick remembers, but on the tube, there was a news report. Someone in a civil servant left files on the tube. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
And then that became the sort of, I think they used that in Skyfall with the names on the hard drive, things like that.
I think with No Time to Die, my theory is maybe initially it was because it's obviously it's nanobots, but the way it's like spread and everything, it totally reminds you of, oh, this is a virus. So maybe in post production they changed it because COVID came obviously when it was in the back. It's hard, but like you said, because it totally is like a virus, but then it isn't, but it kind of is because it goes by contact and everything. So very strange. Maybe they changed it later, but we'll never know, I guess.
So I think the next Bond film is going to be about a Russian trying to take over the world. I've just got this feeling. With everything that's going on in real life, it's going to be some kind of. I mean, I don't think it'll be a Russian because they'll have to change it for obvious reasons. But they'll probably have some South American. They love South American dictators. I don't know what it is, but they love that kind of thing. So I think it'll be something like that. Or an industrial billionaire or something like that.
So what do you guys think about, I mentioned a period piece before, and if you would have asked me a couple of years ago, I would have been like, no. Bond should always be in contemporary times, right? Bond should always take place nowadays. But now it got me thinking, like, politics, like you said, Russia, things are so sensitive nowadays. Also, generally speaking in social media. So I was like, yeah, you know what? If they announce it beforehand to do like a trilogy, like I said, or if they make it clear that this is something they're doing to escape nowadays politics and bring it back to maybe a bit more Fleming and do it a bit like Christopher Nolan, dark, gritty style. What would you guys think? Would it work for a few films to try something different and have it being set in the 50s or 60s?
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Would it work?
that's definitely something I thought about. I've mentioned before. Yeah, I mean, that would really bring back a bit more kind of, I don't know, early grittiness to the film. Maybe a
Yeah,
kind of License to Kill style theme almost
yeah.
again. Dark, and so on. And
A little
yeah,
film
that really,
Yeah.
noir
that,
kind of. I
yeah,
mean,
definitely. Mm,
obviously you can't have Bond smoking these days anymore. But and
mm,
I'm not a smoker myself. I wouldn't necessarily promote it, but it could have that style again where Bond would be
mhm.
smoking, and you have the old cars again, and it isn't because my thing with it is every new Bond fan every new Bond film these days is about surveillance and the cameras and the
Yeah.
hacking
Mm,
and computers,
mhm.
and every other film is about that. So I think going back to that era where it's more proper espionage and
Proper spy work.
Yeah.
older gadgets. I mean,
Mm,
everybody has like
mm,
this thing nowadays. Gadgets aren't
mhm.
too exciting, but now to go back to a suitcase that has like something interesting in there.
Yeah.
Man from Uncle was also a period piece, like, kind of in that kind of
Mhm.
style. That would have been cool, I think. So
Yeah.
so who knows? Maybe it
Absolutely.
could work. Yeah.
Just before we continue, I'm just going to say a shout out to Isabella. Her favorite film is No Time to Die. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think it's always good to have that. So yeah, hi Isabella. Hopefully you're having a great evening there. But yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I'd love to see. I finish with the period pieces. I don't know if I'd like to see them as films. I'd like to see a TV series like on
Yeah,
Amazon or
that
something
could
like that,
also work.
Mm,
Yeah.
like a 60-minute episode where we get like different Bond films at different times and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you could have the cigarettes because that was part of the 50s and the 40s and all the rest of it. And you could remake every book in the way it's supposed to be written as
yeah.
a
That's what I
series.
was thinking about. Yeah. Like,
You could even have Moonmaker as one series
yeah.
of 8 episodes or 6 episodes. Then you could do the next one. So then you
Yeah.
could long it out and have yes, and you could have a different Bond actor every film if you wanted to. You
Yeah.
don't have to have the same person. So
Yeah, no, that could
um,
totally work.
yeah. So has anyone got any questions for Jarun today? Has anyone got any questions for anybody here before we wrap this thing up? I think it's gone very well today. Have you had a good time?
Yeah. So I'm not on YouTube, so I can't see how much people are watching, but I hope we're
Well,
we're still entertaining
yeah,
enough.
yeah. No, we've got a few watches, we've got a few comments, and a lot of people putting their views and opinions up there. Amazon must be wanting to make a Bond film as soon as possible. Yeah,
I hope
definitely.
so, yeah.
Uh, they invested heavily in MGM to buy them, so why not?
Mm.
Last Bond to smoke on screen was Brosnan in Die Another Day. Or was that in No Time to Die? Because he had a cigar, didn't he? No Time to Die? Delictado?
Yeah, but he didn't smoke it, I think.
He
Yeah.
didn't?
Oh yeah, there
Yeah,
were a few behind the scenes photos I've seen actually.
Obviously off
yeah.
screen, yeah. I think Craig is a
Yeah.
smoker in
Screen.
real life, but yeah.
I think it's kind
Oh,
of like he
Marcel.
did.
Oh, can I
Yeah.
can I show something to Marcel just because
Yeah.
he was obviously at yours event as well. He sent me a book with
Oh,
from
right.
Arnhem with Love, which is his hometown. But yeah, on my shelf he sent me this, the Roger Moore.
Ah, yeah.
Oh
My
wow.
word is
Yeah,
my
I got
bond.
it from him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's in Dutch, obviously, but thank you, Marcel, for sending this to me. It's displayed there on my shelf, and I still got your card as well, saying "From Arnhem with love, keep on bonding," something like that. So, really, really generous. He sent me this out of left field, kind of. So, great stuff. So good to see you,
Yeah.
Marcel.
It's a great read, that book as well, actually.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
Well, all Rogers are actually, yeah.
I
Yeah.
got the other
I,
one as
Mm.
well. I bought the other Roger book. It's next to it. At your event,
Mhm.
there was a little stand on the Saturday where you could buy all sorts of things.
Was that
And
Nigel's stand probably you bought that from?
yeah, I
Nigel?
I
Yeah.
got the other Roger book, the Last Man Standing. It's called, I
Mhm.
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So good
that's
to see
brilliant.
him.
I've got that book. I remember queuing up when it got released. I went down to our mall, yeah, mall, and I actually met Roger Moore, and he signed that book for me, and
Crazy.
got to see him. Like we was You know,
So lucky.
he was on one side of the desk, but we queued up. And actually, who was next to me in the queue? This is how I met X-Ray Stu. You know, X-Ray Stu who does the Bond
Yeah.
pictures.
Oh, really?
That's how we met. And we've been in this queue for 6 hours. We queued up from 7 in the morning. And it must have been like, I don't know, it must have been in the afternoon at this point. And we were chatting about things, about stuff. And he was going, oh, I do this, I do that. This was in 2012. Roll on 7 years later, we made Shaken
Wow.
Not Stirred. I added him as a friend back then. We didn't really talk and that. And I was like, well, hang on a minute. He does that kind of thing. He does graphic design. Do you want to do? And so he's the one who designed our logo, this, that,
Yeah.
and he's the digital art that he makes is amazing. So even back to that initial meeting where we both met Roger Moore, didn't know each other, but spent a few hours together. That was kind of the initial creation of Shaken Not Stirred as well, kind of because
Yeah.
you know, and it's coincidental and all the rest of it, but it was meant to be. And how weird when you look at it now. When you look back at that.
It's a small world. It really is.
Yeah, no, he was great. He was brilliant, and I actually got to ask him a question on stage as well. I actually got to ask him because the day after he did a one-man show, and I said, if you could be Bond again now, and you was like you're a lot younger and you could be Bond, how would you do it? Would you do it like Daniel did it, or would you do it how you did it? He goes, I would do it the same way. I wouldn't change a thing. And I thought that was great. You know, the fact
Great
that he
answer.
would have actually would have just done the same thing as he always did, just the light-hearted, and yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But before we go, just want to say to everybody, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And thank you very much for Duran for giving up his
Yeah,
time
thank you,
today.
Duran, for joining us this evening.
And thank you guys for having me as your first
You're welcome.
guest. That's an honor.
Yeah,
And,
no,
and always a pleasure.
Yeah, no, I think it really went really well today. I can't believe we're nearly at 2 hours now, so which is it's gone so quick, which is crazy. But thanks to everybody who's subscribed and commented and
Yeah,
liked
thank you.
and
Thank
watched
you
it.
for everyone joining tonight.
Yeah, and for all of you guys who are watching it on the replay, for everyone it might be morning, good evening, or whatever it is, wherever you're watching it on the replay. Hope you enjoyed it too. And we will be back in February. We're going to do one of these every month, and it should be lots of fun. So yeah, thanks very much, guys.
Thank you, and looking forward to speak to you guys again. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And
yeah, thank you very much yourself and your good wife.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. All the best, guys. See you later.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Shaken Not Stirred will return.